Hello there and welcome to my boat shed. My name is Panu and I am building this 15-meter liveaboard cruising sailboat here in Finland. It's the last days of winter, I believe. It's now April 11th, I think, and it's quite cold still, but today at later afternoon it should get much warmer, and maybe I'll get rid of this overall that I have wear all the winter. Well, here in the boat shed, Kimmo, my friend here, is sanding a little bit. We're having a blast of a boat building day today, doing all kinds of stuff. I'm probably just gonna consider cleaning all the mess that have accumulated over the last few months here and making room for the next tasks. There's plenty of things we can do right now, and I hope in this video we get those ballast keel timbers glued in, shape all these things we have glued over the past few weeks, and prepare for making the actual keel timber. So all kinds of small stuff in this video, and I welcome you to follow my journey. And if you want to support the project and making these videos, please go and check the Patreon page, subscribe to the channel of course, and give me a like and watch all the previous videos so that you're familiar with what's actually going on in here. All right, it's now the next day. Yesterday, as I showed you, Kimmo was here and we did a bunch of stuff. First of all, Kimmo was super nice and he actually sanded and cleaned up all these edges of the boat. I mean the side decks, the side walls here. Now they are pretty much ready for the next tasks we need to do them. And I actually started to make something else. And by that I mean after I have spent several hours just cleaning up all the mess that have been accumulated here, I started to shape the stern area here. I got it initially kind of shaped a little bit. You can see the edges of the plywood forms here. We still need to plane it down to this level, so the whole plywood edge kind of disappears. So the bottom edge of the plywood is the final shape. That I'm not gonna continue today. This is something I can do anywhere, anytime I want, and kind of if I have 1 hour, I can go and start shape that. But today is Sunday and spring has arrived, I believe. It's nice and warm. It's almost 10 degrees in here. And today my plan and agenda is to glue in these for good. And I just need to sit down and think a little bit how I'm gonna be able to glue these efficiently and prepare things, wipe them with alcohol, especially this oak, and kind of go from there. Glue on every joint there, and of course that end over here. And then if I have time, I will also glue in the final frame, which is now just hanging in here. It should go in there, over there, between those two, and then the final frame is in, and that is gonna be just amazing. So maybe 2 milestones today. We'll see how long that takes. But yeah, let's go outside a little bit. It's so nice and warm out here right now. It has been a super cold week, and yesterday morning there was new snow on the ground, and then in a couple of hours the weather changed like from 0 degrees to 10, and it was just amazing. Yeah. All right, now I've been fiddling with this for a while and kind of came in the conclusion how I'm gonna do this. First, I have now moved that off from its place, from there, so I can access that cavity. And here is the marks for the actual frame positions, these red markers over here. But what I'm gonna do now, first I'm gonna clean this up and with wipe some alcohol to get rid of all the possible contaminants of this oak. I'm not too concerned about this spruce or pine, what I used with the frames, because the epoxy just soaks so well into those. But then when everything is ready, I'm gonna put some unthickened epoxy in here just to wet the area of the frames in this oak piece. Then I'm gonna fill that area underneath there to have a lot of epoxy there, and then push this on its place. And after that, I'm gonna take a plastic bag like this. Let me see. Plastic bag like this, and put some epoxy in here, a little bit thickened epoxy. Then with this, I can squeeze this bag corner underneath that little gap there, and then push and fill all the way around these. But yeah, that's kind of the plan, and now as you can see, it's already very dusty, so there's a lot of dust, so I'm gonna clean these areas first, and then we'll start mixing the epoxy. All right, let's get started. Before that, I wanna remind you that this project is sponsored by Green Turtle Epoxy and their distributor in Finland, Materialshop.fi. So if you have any needs for doing composite work, big or small, Materialshop got you covered. But anyway, let's get started with the build. I have my cup here, I have my scale, I have resin, I have hardener, and it is pretty warm right now in here, so I have to be quite fast. Especially I want to use the last remains of my fast hardener. It looks pretty crusty, but it's all right inside, of course. So I want to use the fast hardener as much as I can. And that shouldn't be a problem. There is not really that much time going into putting those things in there. So do this and hope for the best. Alright, first, as I said, I'm gonna put some epoxy around those places where the frames will be placed, so that there is a good epoxy kind of coverage in that oak. And then I'm gonna thicken the rest of this and put it over there. Alright, now that's done. Now I need to thicken this, and it's not warm yet, but I need to be fast. Couple of options here. This is just fumed silica, and then this sack is full of pine dust. And I think I'm gonna use the pine dust for this case, because it has more fibers in it, and it's that way a little bit stronger, I believe. Okay, I think this is good. It's not too thick, so that when I push it in there, it will flow around, and then additionally the wood there will soak some of the epoxy, so it will make it a little bit thicker. Oh, I was expecting that it would be quite intense, and I expected also that there would be epoxy in that cavity over there, so that it would prevent it to go its position. But yeah, that happened. I took some off from there, and now I push it with one clamp, and I think it's now pretty good. So it went a couple of millimeters that way, and it's so close to be perfect that yeah, I'm good with that. Okay, for this batch I'm gonna use the fumed silica. Here it is. I have to be fast because when I'm holding it in my hand I will warm it up, and that's bad. So okay, this didn't work. Alright, that didn't work almost at all. I was able to push some epoxy over there, but as soon as the bag got kind of sticky, it was impossible to control, and yeah. So I just probably need to push with spatula over there. Some kind of syringe would be nice, but I don't have any of those right now, so yeah, let's just do something. All right, it's now kind of done. It didn't go as planned. I didn't get enough epoxy in that groove in there, but as mentioned, I'm not really too concerned about that. But now it is on its place, but problem is that it's already so late that I don't have time to do the other one. This took quite long. All right, it's now later next week. I haven't been able to do anything during this week, but now there is few hours time to get the other one installed there. And for that I bought these big syringes. I try to use this to kind of squeeze the epoxy into that groove. Let's try this now and see what happens. If it doesn't work, it's all right. I'll do the same manner I did that one. So I just squeeze in as much epoxy that I can. All right, now this is in as well, and it went pretty okay. The syringe was quite good, but I had to use a little bit, maybe too liquid epoxy, so it tends to kind of drip down there a little bit. So it might end up being a little bit empty up there. But as I put it in, I could see that the epoxy kind of squeezed out several centimeters inside there. So I'm quite sure that worked pretty well. So as I have mentioned, the keel will be like this on the top of this thing right here, and it will be bolted down through these holes, and there will be steel part right here that acts as a washer, and it kind of holds the keel bolts in these frames. As we tighten the bolts, they will of course have a massive amount of compression in here. That's why this is made from oak. It's much more durable handling the pressure than the spruce or pine, what I have used with these. And that's why we're gonna have the oak kind of going right into the hull here. However, the one thing that I haven't really decided yet is that when we make the actual hull shape here, should it go over this thing and then we get the keel bolts through that kind of core. The hull will be spruce and pine, so that kind of is the soft spot here. So I wouldn't really like to do that. Instead, I'm thinking if we should actually kind of this oak piece is coming through the hull so that it will form the shape of the keel. Something like this is right here now. So the hull will actually go around this keel. Another option, of course, is to make this area from solid fiberglass. So that we'll make the hull, then we'll just cut it out from this area. The hull would be much easier to do over this whole thing. And then we just cut it out. And then we do additional kind of thing when the hull is done over here. We do the actual keel base here on the bottom. So that is kind of the thing that I've been thinking and haven't really decided yet how I'm gonna do that. But if you have any ideas, please put a comment down below and give me some input of this matter. Yeah, but this is now done. This is absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, these are so super solid here, they don't move anywhere anymore. Now the only thing left is to actually put the last frame in. I think I'm gonna do that later today. We'll see how much I have time. I have some meetings later. So we'll see. It's really not big a deal. It's a kind of 15-minute job to put the frame in. But I have a little bit of a schedule of this video. I want to do this early next week. And now it's Thursday and tomorrow starts the Easter time. So we're gonna have a small trip. But I will be back here on Monday, which is still holiday. I think we're gonna do the one bulkhead on Monday and put that in. We'll see about that. But that's the kind of the last thing in this video. So yeah, really pleased with that. Hoping to get the bulkhead done. Okay, it's now Monday as I promised, and during the weekend I've been editing this video. It's plenty long already, but I still want to have this one more thing in it, and that is the first bulkhead of the boat. I have now set up first sheet of plywood, one of two, and we're gonna cut the bulkhead from these. It's gonna have scarf joints because it doesn't fit in one bulkhead, it's too wide. So we're gonna have scarf joints in both of the layers. It's gonna have two layers of this 50mm or a little bit thicker plywood. And yeah, then we're gonna fit it to the boat right away. So it's gonna take a while to cut these joints, so better get started to make it to the installation today. Alright, while the machine is doing its work, we can prepare things here. So, the bulkhead will be placed right against this frame right here. This is frame number 1, this is the frame 0, and the front area of the bulkhead will be a wet locker for something. Probably not for sails, but fenders and stuff like that. And the reason why I want to put the bulkhead in this stage already is that first of all, it's very easy access right here. The second one actually is that we already have the front deck in here on its place, and as you can imagine, if we would haul around here, it's pretty impossible to squeeze out any big sheets of plywood through any hatch we might have there to get inside and against this frame. So we're going to put the bulkhead in right now, And for that we need to prepare a little bit. First of all, we need to remove this middle mold here. Alright, here is the first layer of the bulkhead in two pieces. Here we have the scarf joint. It became pretty good. I had to sand it a little bit because that was an upcut bit, so there was quite a bit of kind of tear out here, but a little bit of sanding, that's alright. And now we can kind of lay it down in here. There's these holes here to kind of align it on its place. It looks like it's perfect right now. And this is obviously the slot for the keel. And I'm doing it this way because, yeah, I need to put this up there and this here on the bottom. So if this would be one piece, it would be impossible to put in there. So let's now dry fit this first. The second one is over there on the machine coming up. It took 2.5 hours to cut this thing. That scarf joint is pretty slow to do, but it's all right. All right, that was easy. It fits super well, and I think this is actually the second layer of the bulkhead. There's a slight difference of the size of the layers because this, for example, this hole here is for the beam that will come across, and it's of course in slightly different place in this layer and the other one. So this might be actually the second layer, so we need to put the other one first, but yeah, it seems to fit quite well. It's a little bit of a gap there. I think I left like a 5 millimeters of adjustability of this thing, and it's all right because I can fill all these gaps easily with epoxy and fillets and stuff eventually. This is gonna be watertight bulkhead after all. Alright, now the both layers are done. The first one is in, kind of dry fitted. It has the seam in vertical and this another one has horizontal. So this way I can push this in from the both sides of this stem, and then this obviously goes up there, and yeah, you know. Now I just fiddle it a little bit to find the right position, and then I start mixing epoxy. This scarf joint needs thickened epoxy, so it will feel the seam between there. There's a little bit of room with this method, and then I just screw the both layers to this frame here and to each other, of course. So that way it should be good. And then there's these holes in here, then those will accept small dowels that will position the both layers on top of each other in perfect spot. So I think this should be pretty straightforward, and now I just put time lapse and you'll see the result in just a moment. All right, now the bulkhead is in. There's plenty of epoxy all around. It's kind of trying to flow away from those slots. It's really difficult to kind of figure out how much filler I would need there to be able to keep the epoxy on its place, but yeah, I think it's all right. I'll work that a little bit before it cures. So yeah, that's good. And that's it. I think it's now enough for this video. In next one, we'll continue shaping these things, the keel slot and stuff like that. And I really appreciate for you watching these videos. Please give me thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, of course. And if you want to support my project here, please go and check out the Patreon page. The support I get there is essential for me to be able to put time into making these videos. Thank you so much, and we'll see you. Bye bye.